call the roll.
Yeah.
Mayor Johnston,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Francina. Here. Councilmember Blatz is absent. Councilmember Haney.
Here.
Councilmember Wyrick.
Here.
Ready to lead us in the pledge?
Ready? Begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Is there any?
Oh, I put the wrong guy down? No.
Without objection, agenda approved. Okay. We don't have a consent calendar, do we?
Well, we'd have to pull from the consent calendar to discuss the agenda item.
Oh, Jesus. Well,
Guess we should, since we have people.
only if you wish. Well, okay.
We have people
do
that wish to
We have
speak,
some
so.
people here. This is meant to be a very short meeting, and I will in advance apologize to the public who got you down here on a weekday at a special time. There was no emergency, and frankly, I apologize for saying this in public, but it seems to me this is an administrative matter that could have been worked out. But I didn't think about it at the time when the staff asked if a meeting could be held so as not to hold up a permit they were to issue. So that's why we're here. I have a number of comments to make after we deal with this, but so if I guess we have a motion to pull this from the consent calendar.
So moved.
Right, and a second. No
Second.
objection. Okay. The matter is before us. I've got 2 cards. Is anybody else out there wishing to testify? Okay. Bob Daddy.
Good morning. This is a kind of a serious matter. As more and more things unfold in Paradise, I would urge you to please put on the agenda some real quick major discussions for disaster plan, implementing it, but not only that, how you implement and educate the entire area. We're finding more and more and more, and we're seeing some huge failures. When I take a look at Ojai, I really think we could talk to 10 people and ask them what the plan is, and they'll say, what plan? We don't have a plan. That the people know. We may have a plan, but the people certainly don't know that. I wish that that is something that you could put on as quickly as possible. That's it. This is going to be a quick
Okay.
meeting.
It'll be there. It'll be on the agenda in January.
Great.
All right, thank you. Chet.
Good morning. This is a first. Good morning.
Yeah.
So I support the inn. I mean, it's a fantastic operation. Been here forever and ever. What they're doing, it's fine. But for me, we have an issue as well, and we're also we pay transient tax. So just in short, it's my understanding. Let's see, the inn. There's a special meeting today to manage an issue at the Ojai Valley Inn, wherein council will weigh how to fairly manage compliance of the public arts program by the inn. According to the administrative report issued for the meeting today, provided by city staff to council, the inn recently contracted for a buyout of the entire inn early in February, which could be in jeopardy if this project is delayed. On our part, Caravan Outpost has contracted for buyouts of the entire facility in January, February, March, April, May, June, September of 2019, which could be in jeopardy if our zoning issue is delayed. I would like to formally request a special meeting of the council to complete the zoning issue immediately. I was not made aware there was a process outside of the regular meetings where we could request urgent intervention by council on business critical issues. On the contrary, we were told we had to wait our turn. As I have voiced many times, the zoning issues presented to you and council are vital to our company, employees, and the community partners that we support throughout the city of Ojai. Rather than wait weeks, as we were informed was the standard process, I too would like our company to be treated as a priority by the city and council. Please advise the dates available for our special meeting so that we may plan accordingly and, like the inn, not jeopardize our buyouts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all the cards I have. So,
I'd like to hear from the city manager.
yeah, I'm trying to decide whether, okay, sure.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
okay.
City manager.
I'm just ready to make a motion if that's in order.
What about the end?
I suppose it would be legitimate for us to discuss or to have conversation about the whole process.
Sure.
After the motion.
Your pleasure, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have any objection, or is there a second to the motion?
No, I second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve, or to direct staff to go ahead and take the deposit. Any discussion? If not, okay, we call the roll.
Councilmember Wyrick?
Yes.
Councilmember Haney?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Francina?
Yes.
Mayor Johnston?
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Here is, well, I don't want to get into debate over the thing, but my concern is this. This is an administrative activity of money coming into the city that is simply being held in effect potentially in an escrow. That is, the money could be returned. It is simply a glitch in a process that was already completed, as I understand. I'm sort of posing this, Steve, if I'm misstating anything. My understanding is that the applicant going through just a normal building process or remodeling process exceeded a certain value, which required them to pay an extra fee. The extra fee, because it had to do with the Arts Commission, went to the Arts Commission and they agreed. Is that true?
Yes, with one slight modification. Of course, the applicant doesn't have an option to either provide the public art on-site. In this case, they are asking for the in lieu of providing it on-site by paying the public art fee calculated on the amount of the project.
Okay, right.
And yes, that had
and
gone.
that may be a glitch in our law or in the way in which we direct staff to administer the law. But the fact is that the advisory board, such as a planning commission, only in this case the Arts Commission,
That's correct.
listened to the thing and said they were in agreement. It seems to me that that sort of thing, if we need to change the rules so we don't spend all this kind of money and time of everybody to call a special meeting to accept a check that's going to go into an account that could always be returned and could be reversed if we needed to. That's entirely different than zone changes, alcohol beverage control permits and all that, which is hugely complicated. This is a relatively simple thing that either was not covered in our government code, or we didn't have a procedure where what I would think would be, in this case, common sense of how to handle it to avoid this kind of expense and getting everybody turned out, because I am not in favor of special meetings being called for complicated issues of the city. This was a matter of expediting an administrative thing that was meant to be fairly simple, and maybe I should have said no, but I didn't want to put the pressure on the staff who felt they were directed to do otherwise. It seems to me that we need to clear this up. This should not be the way we do business.
Mayor Johnson?
Bill?
I would agree with you, but I think it raises up a generic point in that I believe there is something in our ordinance that says this kind of thing has to be approved by council, I believe.
That is
And
correct.
the problem is that that's one small few words that could be easily changed by a text amendment. And, I've raised this issue before. When we find little glitches like this in our code, I would like to see staff bring a maybe on a consent calendar, change the text on a text amendment. For
Right,
these
and
kinds of
I would
things.
agree with you on that, Bill,
You
but
know?
let me point out that it wasn't that long ago that we had somebody, and this kind of goes to what Chet's bringing up as to how things are treated. Somebody wanted to open up a brew pub, and they had a plan, and the plan was to reduce parking. Admittedly, it was substandard parking, but they reduced 2 or 3 spaces in the process and enhanced their business. At the same time, the Planning Commission, an advisory board, waived the $125,000 mitigation fee for parking. That clearly was a financial responsibility of the city council, in my view, but because it happened during the Thomas Fire period, we didn't even get it until February, and when I raised the question, the city attorney tells me, oh, I'm sorry, the 10 days for appeal has lapsed. Now, somebody who is being given the opportunity not to pay a fee of over $100,000 didn't come to us, but somebody who is giving us for $13,000 has to be approved by us. I mean, that makes absolutely no common sense. Now, the law may be the law and we should change it, but I just want that on the record so that everybody understands this is not a precedent for every time somebody wants to do something or a special favor to the end. It just seemed like it was an administrative matter that could be solved in less than 30 minutes and needed to be taken care of in the interest of everybody. And would certainly, I would hope it would apply to all businesses if we find it a similar circumstance, but not to open up general plans and zoning and the rest of it is being requested. I mean, I understand why they're asking for it, and it's legitimate that they should ask, why are we doing this and then not doing, this for everybody? It's not practical to do it for everybody, and it's not good government. It's too expensive, and it's not a good process, so.
Yeah, well, just the obvious, the next council meeting would have been on Christmas Eve. If it had not been for that, we wouldn't be having this special meeting.
That's correct.
It's
There
that.
are a lot of reasons why we're doing it, but
Yeah.
it just seems like we systemically, like Bill says, we need a text change so that the staff has that authority and doesn't have to be concerned that they're somehow violating the law. I actually wish we could get to a point where we trusted one another and weren't critical of one another so that the staff and the manager could say to himself when something like this comes up, who is harmed, who is benefited, who would sue, and would I stand up in public and admit before my family and the community why I did it? Yes, I'm guilty of doing this. It made common sense. I think we should make that a goal, that we empower our staff to use common sense and not to be fearful that they'll be second guessed when something as simple as this could have been handled in a different way. So, okay, well, we've approved the item on the agenda. Is there anybody else who wants to weigh
Well,
in?
we've already beat this horse to death. I personally wanted to hear from the city manager prior to your three's comments, but at this point, it's moot. We voted. Let's move on.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment before all of you leave, while I have all of you here? Johnny, thank you. Real quick. One of the issues with us, it's very similar to when Ryan Blatz had an office down in the industrial park, when offices were not allowed, although they built a 2-story BST building in the industrial park, operated for years. So what we want is a text amendment, much like Ryan got when he had a law office down in the industrial park. Took Rob Clark, I think Ryan said, 2 weeks to do that. So we don't want to wait months. That's all we're saying. We're a business in town. We're generating revenue. We are operating legally. We want, like I say, the same treatment. It just seems like it's a moving target everywhere you go.
Okay, well,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks. Steve?
Just so the public is aware and the mayor's council is aware, the item as directed at the previous regular city council meeting on this issue regarding the text amendment for the M1 and the MPD zones as directed by council is coming back at the January 8th meeting.
And might it incorporate something that would address this to provide the latitude for staff to serve the public where there's no harm, no foul, like a deposit? I'm not talking about Chet's deal. I'm going back to what we just had to go through.
Well, I don't think we would be able to have that ready for the January 8th, since we're already putting that packet out today with the holiday.
Okay, are there any other comments?
Today.
Well, quickly, Mayor, just, the optics of this is not good for the inn. There's this perception out there that when the inn pulls the city strings, that things could happen for them, and other entities in this community, other businesses in this community don't get the same treatment. So I know this isn't that, but it sure reflects it. And that's not good for business, that's not good for us.
Right.
And that just needs to be stated also. And again, I think that this could have been handled differently too. And as soon as we can change this glitch, we need to do that.
Okay, any other comments?
Simple change in the code.
Okay, if not, that's the only business this morning. Meeting is adjourned.